The rain was coming down in sheets as I stared out the window of my Seattle townhouse, the city lights blurring into a hazy mess. I am Quentin, 43, and until a few weeks ago, I thought I had it all. A beautiful wife, a comfortable home, a fulfilling career as a marine biologist studying the Puget Sound's orca populations. My life was a carefully constructed ecosystem, and I was about to discover a toxic invader had been lurking beneath the surface. My wife Blythe worked as a marketing executive for a tech firm downtown. She was ambitious, driven, and undeniably attractive. We'd been married for 15 years, a milestone we celebrated with a trip to the San Juan Islands. Or so I thought we celebrated. Looking back, there were signs, subtle shifts in her behavior that I'd dismissed as work stress or just the natural ebb and flow of a long-term relationship. She started staying late at the office more often, claiming deadlines and urgent projects. Her phone became an extension of her hand, constantly buzzing with notifications she'd quickly dismiss with a vague, "It's just work." The first real crack in my reality appeared on a Tuesday. I'd come home early from a research trip, eager to surprise Blythe with her favorite takeout from that Thai place on Capitol Hill. The house was silent when I walked in, no sign of Blythe. I figured she was still at work, even though it was nearly 7 p.m. I put the takeout in the fridge and headed upstairs to change. That's when I saw it, her phone lying face down on the nightstand. Blythe never left her phone anywhere. Curiosity, or perhaps a subconscious suspicion, gnawed at me. I knew I shouldn't, but I picked it up. A text message was illuminated on the screen. It was from someone named Jasper. The message read, "Can't wait to see you tonight." Thinking about those kisses in the elevator, the words hit me like a physical blow. My breath hitched, and my heart began to pound in my chest. I felt a cold dread creep through my veins. I scrolled through the messages, my hands shaking. It was a torrent of explicit exchanges, confirming my worst fears. Blythe was having an affair, and it had been going on for months. Jasper, I soon discovered, was a colleague of hers, some hotshot VP from the sales department. The messages were filled with details of their rendezvous, stolen moments in the office, secret lunches, and clandestine meetings at a hotel downtown. As I read, I felt a cocktail of emotions churning inside me, disbelief, anger, and a profound sense of betrayal. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to scream, to break things, to confront Blythe immediately, but I also needed to know the full extent of her deception. I decided to play it cool, to gather more information before confronting her. When Blythe finally arrived home around 8 p.m., she greeted me with a perfunctory kiss and a tired smile. "Long day," she said, heading straight for the fridge. "Anything good to eat yet?" I said, my voice betraying none of the turmoil raging inside me. "I got Thai." We ate in silence, the tension in the room thick enough to cut with a knife. I watched her, studying her face, searching for any sign of guilt or remorse. But she seemed perfectly normal, perfectly composed. It was as if she were living a double life, compartmentalizing her affair with ease. Over the next few days, I became an amateur detective. I checked Blythe's phone records, her credit card statements, her email account. I discovered a pattern of lies and deceit that was breathtaking in its scope. She'd been using company funds to pay for hotel rooms, claiming them as client entertainment expenses. She'd been meeting Jasper during her lunch breaks, telling me she was at the gym. She'd even lied about attending a conference in Portland, spending the weekend with him instead. The more I learned, the more the anger inside me grew. I felt like a fool, a naive idiot who'd been completely blinded by love and trust. How could I have been so blind? How could I have missed the signs? The questions haunted me, replaying in my mind like a broken record. I confided in my best friend, Hadley, a landscape architect I'd known since college. He was shocked and supportive, offering a listening ear and a shoulder to cry on. "You need to confront her, Quentin," he said. "You can't let her get away with this." I knew he was right. I couldn't continue living this lie. I needed to face Blythe, to demand an explanation, to expose her betrayal. I decided to confront her on our anniversary. It was a cruel irony, but I wanted to make a statement. I booked a table at our favorite restaurant, the same place where I'd proposed to her 15 years ago. The restaurant, overlooking the Space Needle, held so many cherished memories, now tainted by her infidelity. When Blythe arrived, she was dressed to the nines, looking radiant and beautiful. I felt a pang of sadness, a reminder of the woman I'd once loved. As we sat down, I took a deep breath and steeled myself for the confrontation. "Blythe," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "We need to talk." She looked at me, her brow furrowed with concern. "What's wrong, Quentin? You seem upset." "Upset doesn't even begin to describe it," I said, my voice rising. "I know about Jasper, I know about the affair." Her face paled and her eyes widened in shock. "What are you talking about?" she stammered, feigning innocence. "Don't even try to deny it," I said, pulling out her phone and placing it on the table. "I've read the messages. I've seen the credit card statements. I know everything." She stared at the phone, her face a mask of guilt and shame. "Quentin, how could you do this to me?" I interrupted, my voice filled with pain and anger. "How could you betray me like this?" After all these years, tears welled up in her eyes, but I wasn't buying it. "I don't know," she sobbed. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far, it just happened," I repeated, incredulous. "You've been lying to me for months. You've been sneaking around behind my back. How can you say it just happened?" She reached across the table and took my hand, her touch feeling foreign and repulsive. "Please, Quentin, I am so sorry. I made a mistake. Can't we work through this, I said, pulling my hand away. "There's nothing to work through, Blythe. It's over. I want a divorce." Her eyes widened in horror. "No, Quentin, please don't say that. I love you. I don't want to lose you. You lost me a long time ago," I said, standing up from the table. "I am done." I walked out of the restaurant, leaving Blythe sobbing at the table. I felt a sense of relief, but also a profound sadness. 15 years of my life, gone in an instant. As I walked away, I knew that I was embarking on a new chapter, a chapter filled with uncertainty and pain, but also with the promise of a fresh start. The divorce was messy and acrimonious. Blythe fought me every step of the way, trying to minimize her culpability and maximize her financial gain. But I was determined to get what I deserved. I hired a tough lawyer who specialized in infidelity cases, and we built a solid case against her. During the discovery process, we uncovered even more evidence of Blythe's deceit. We found emails showing that she'd been planning to leave me for Jasper, that she'd been secretly transferring funds to a separate account. We even discovered that she'd been using my research data for her company's marketing campaigns without my permission. The betrayal cut deeper and deeper. It wasn't just the affair. It was the lies, the manipulation, the complete disregard for my feelings and my work. I felt like she'd stolen a part of my soul. As the divorce proceedings dragged on, I found myself becoming increasingly isolated. I stopped going out with friends, I lost interest in my work, and I spent most of my time alone in my townhouse, replaying the events of the past few months in my mind. Hadley tried to get me out of my funk, inviting me to hiking trips and Mariners games, but I was too consumed by anger and resentment to enjoy anything. I felt like my life had been irrevocably damaged, that I would never be able to trust anyone again. One day, Hadley suggested I see a therapist. "You need to talk to someone, Quentin," he said. "You can't keep bottling up your emotions. It's not healthy." I was hesitant at first, but I knew he was right. I needed help. I found a therapist who specialized in infidelity and trauma, and I began attending weekly sessions. It was difficult at first, opening up to a stranger about my deepest fears and insecurities, but gradually I began to feel a sense of release. I started to understand that Blythe's betrayal wasn't a reflection of my worth as a person, that it was a reflection of her own character flaws. As I worked through my anger and resentment, I began to focus on rebuilding my life. I threw myself back into my research, spending long hours in the lab and in the field. I reconnected with old friends. I started exercising regularly, and I even took up a new hobby, photography. I also decided to confront Jasper. I wanted to look him in the eye and tell him what he'd done to me, to my marriage, to my life. I tracked him down through LinkedIn and sent him a message, asking to meet for coffee. To my surprise, he agreed. We met at a cafe near his office downtown. He looked nervous and uncomfortable, avoiding eye contact. "I just wanted to tell you that you ruined my life," I said, my voice trembling with anger. "You destroyed my marriage, you betrayed my trust, you caused me immense pain." He looked up at me, his face filled with remorse. "I know," he said. I am sorry, Quentin. I never meant for things to go this far. I was selfish and foolish and I made a terrible mistake. I didn't say anything. I just stared at him, trying to understand how someone could be so callous and reckless. Blythe and I are no longer together, he continued. She blamed me for everything, for the affair, for the divorce. She said I manipulated her, that I took advantage of her vulnerability. But it wasn't all my fault. She was just as culpable as I was. I nodded slowly, realizing that he was right. Blythe wasn't a victim. She was a willing participant in the affair. She had made her own choices, and she had to live with the consequences. I hope you can find a way to forgive her, Jasper said. And I hope you can find a way to move on with your life. I didn't say anything. I just stood up and walked away. I didn't know if I could ever forgive Blythe, but I knew that I had to move on. I couldn't let her betrayal define me. I had to reclaim my life, to find happiness and fulfillment on my own terms. The divorce was finalized a few months later. I got a fair settlement, enough to secure my financial future. I also got custody of our dog, a golden retriever named Finn, who had always been my loyal companion. I sold my townhouse and moved to a small cabin on Bainbridge Island. I wanted to be closer to nature, to escape the hustle and bustle of the city. I spent my days hiking in the woods, kayaking in the Sound, and photographing the wildlife. I found solace in the beauty of the natural world, a reminder that life goes on, even after devastating loss. One evening, as I was sitting on my porch watching the sunset over the water, I received a phone call from an unfamiliar number. I hesitated before answering, but curiosity got the better of me. "Hello," I said. "Quentin, it's Blythe," a weak voice said on the other end. I felt a surge of anger and resentment, but I tried to remain calm. "What do you want, Blythe?" I said. "I just wanted to tell you that I am sorry," she said, her voice cracking with emotion. "I know I hurt you deeply and I'll never forgive myself for what I did. I've lost everything, Quentin. My job, my friends, my reputation. I'm all alone." I didn't say anything. I just listened as she poured out her heart, confessing her regrets and her remorse. "I know it's too late to ask for your forgiveness," she said. "But I just wanted you to know that I am truly sorry." "Goodbye, Blythe," I said, and hung up the phone. I sat there for a long time, staring out at the water. I felt a flicker of compassion for Blythe, but also a sense of closure. She was finally facing the consequences of her actions, and I could finally move on with my life. It's been 2 years since the divorce. I am still living in my cabin on Bainbridge Island, and I am happier than I've been in a long time. I've reconnected with my passion for marine biology, and I am working on a new research project studying the impact of climate change on the orca population. I've also started dating again, and I've met someone who makes me laugh and feel valued. Blythe's betrayal was a painful and traumatic experience, but it also taught me valuable lessons about love, trust, and forgiveness. I learned that I am stronger than I thought I was, that I can survive even the most devastating heartbreak. And I learned that life is too short to hold onto anger and resentment. It's better to let go of the past and embrace the future with all its possibilities.